Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the Harmony Collective in Ypsilanti, Michigan, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast that makes ancient wisdom relevant today. With your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1334. Good morning, everybody. It's Represent Our Merch Monday.
It's called
And
Wear
I
Your
didn't
Merch.
represent. Me and Kastuba and Mara were like, we got to have Represent Your Merch Monday. And I was
It's
like,
it's called Wear Your Merch Monday. Right?
Wear Your Merch. Well, I like represent better. Wear your
Represent
merch
your
Monday.
merch. That means you're representing the merch. No, it's the merch that does the representing.
Wear your merch Monday.
Wear Your Merch Monday. Yeah.
Anyway, it's a day that everybody on Zoom, you got to put on your Wisdom of the Sages shirt.
Other
Just on
people,
Monday.
others can do it as well. After they hear this, they can go, "Oh, Monday I go out, I put on my Wisdom Sage shirt, I represent."
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because
that
they're
way-
supposed to post on social media too, right? Like
Oh,
post
you
a
can
photo.
post
on
a good
social
idea.
media.
And that way, I tell you, there's
Yeah.
people. If you just
There's a
wear
whole
it,
plan.
someone will come up to you and go, "Hey, man, me too."
Hey, man.
It's especially if it's a concentrated effort. I saw
I've had
five
people
Wisdom
yell
of
at me
Sages shirts
from
today.
down the street saying, "Hey, Wisdom of the Sages."
It happens. It happens. Yes. So welcome. Yeah, I just had this great day. I've been gone for 24 hours, and it was great. Deva Madhava Prabhu, who I'm staying at his home right now, they just picked me up
Ypsilanti.
from the airport. He picked me up from the airport. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing, and I was like, "Okay, should I shower?" And he's like, "Oh no, you're giving the Sunday feast right now."
Oh.
I just went. I went right from the plane to a Sunday feast. Was packed. They've really created something wonderful here in Michigan,
Nice.
and they've got like a little school for kids. They've got a vegetarian or vegan restaurant called Gora's Grill. Good one.
Okay.
And then they have a really beautiful community, and it just shows when a person gets really focused on, I want to give my life to Krishna, how many wonderful things can happen. People step into positions as teachers, people step into positions as leaders or chefs or restaurateurs and stuff like that.
Grill masters.
And grill masters. And it's another thing, because people have been asking, I don't live around devotees, what can I do? You know what? These early devotees of Prabhupada, they didn't know
There you go.
much.
This is your thing, Raghunath.
Right?
Make
They
your
didn't know
house.
much. They just like, I'm going to go to England and start a temple. And they just did it. And they were because of it, and because their desires were pure, and because they got the blessings of their guru, just they created so much. And I feel like the same thing is happening here. I'm very impressed.
Great.
What else is up?
Well, we have announcements usually at this point in the show.
Okay.
We check.
Can
in
I
with-
start with my announcement? I have one. Tom Essig, one of our regular Zoomers who's on today, he created this incredible documentary called Something Divine. And it is going to be in Pittsburgh at the Pittsburgh Independent Film Festival at the Parkway Theater in McKees Rocks, June 28th through the 30th. The film plays to be determined. Okay. So anyway, check that out. Film
Pittsburgh
Festival
people.
at the Parkway Theater in McKees Rocks. in Pittsburgh, people. Really looking forward to that when it gets distributed, Tom. All right.
Mara.
Mara?
There you go.
We have Back to Recovery group meetings today at 1, 2, and 9 p.m. And everything is open for our Sage group signups at our new website, wisdomofthesages.com.
Have the Bhakti Recovery groups haven't moved over toward our new platform, huh?
Not yet.
A lot of people are signing up for the new platform. That's the place to go.
Platform looks cool.
Patreon's like, that's done now.
Yeah, so people should go back, cancel their Patreon membership, and go over to the new wisdomofthesages.com.
Please.
I think they do it the other way, Mara. First you go over and you sign up on Wisdom of the Sages, and then you go back and you cancel the Patreon.
I just canceled my own Patreon membership yesterday.
Whoa.
You know, I think I might have a Patreon membership. I'm serious.
I think I do too.
Were you going to ask me about the show? I played this Hands Tied Festival yesterday.
Okay.
Tied Down Festival.
Tied down.
Tied Down. It was out of control. Tied Down Festival. Hands Tied Festival. Yeah. I got run over by a human pickup truck yesterday on stage.
Oh.
A guy just charged like a bull. I went out to sing to the people. A guy just ran and clocked me in the head with his body. I don't even think he realized he did it. But it sounded like I got a chiropractic adjustment. My whole neck went like, and I was like birds were flying around my head. Like I was in a daze. It was just the first song. And I was like, the things we do to preach. I was like, I'm either going to be dead tomorrow morning or I'm going to feel like my compression of my neck has been lifted and I'm a new man. But it was a big, beautiful show. Got to meet up with the crew. Tons of others out there tons of devotees, tons of straight edge kids. And with the straight edge kids, it's almost like their religion. And to play a show, it's like it gives them faith in their religion somehow. And
you are the Messiah.
That would make me Jesus. Don't you get it? They're the message of clean living. That's their religion. But it's beautiful, and they're so Krishna friendly too.
Good.
They'll just say, the words have changed my life. I've completely stopped eating meat, or I'm clean my whole life. Or there was one girl in a Punjabi outfit in the pit. Punjabi outfit in the pit, crying, saying, "You saved my life."
It's a cultural crossover.
When you speak,
they said, "You saved my life," and you're like, "Yes, my little one." I bless you.
Well, it's not me that saved my life.
No, of course not.
We're just like channeling truth.
That's
what everybody on Zoom is doing, or everybody in the other. Whenever you tell somebody a message of truth, a message of integrated.
So you're not
living.
God. You are the channel of God.
You're not God. We're God's
The
representatives.
divine messenger.
It sounds bad to say that, God's representatives. But we believe that there's one truth, and it's a spiritual truth, and there's commonality in all these truths. And and part of it is self-control. Control your mind, curb your passions. It's universal truth.
All right. Speaking of universal truth, how about a universal nugget?
I got a universal nugget. Right after the show, I'm taking off, so I can't even say my goodbyes. I got to jump on that plane.
Okay.
Here is our nugget for the day, sir.
I put it with the rest of the notes that I sent you in that message.
Yep, I know.
Come on, oh messenger.
I know.
The divine.
Without merit.
Why don't you just channel it?
Come on, Jesus, channel it. Listen, my son. Getting distracted by
Hold on, who's this
trifles.
from? Who's this from?
This is from Epictetus.
Is that how you said it? Epictetus.
Epictetus. I think it's
Epictetus.
Epictetus.
I assume he was Greek, Roman.
I'm assuming.
I think he was a Stoic, right?
Sounds Stoic to me.
Just because he's got a Greek name, he's a Stoic.
No, I just think that's what he was. That was
okay. Getting distracted.
It's a Stoic sounding nugget.
Yes. Getting distracted by trifles
is the easiest thing in the world. Focus on your main duty.
No, just straight to
It's
it.
all
Right?
dharma. It's all duty. These guys, it's like they have everything except Lord Krishna. Hmm?
Maybe they did in their own way. Once, our friend Shyamasundar Prabhu, he was working on a book with Srila Prabhupada that eventually became called Dialectical Spiritualism.
Oh yeah, it's a good book.
And
Is it still
so
in print?
I doubt it. I think there was some criticism of the book because the idea was he would come to Srila Prabhupada every day and explain a different philosopher, like a Western philosopher.
Yeah.
And then Prabhupada would comment on that philosopher in light of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and so on.
Hmm.
But I think there was some criticism that sometimes maybe the philosophers weren't perfectly represented.
Oh, well,
But yeah, you do the best you can, right?
you do the best you can. But
Yeah.
I think it was very cool if you're interested in Western philosophy.
Yeah.
Shyamasundar would bring up all these. Tell me a little
Yeah.
bit about whomever,
Epictetus.
Epictetus. And then
Eh,
Prabhupada said, well, what did he actually believe? Well, he believed A, B, C, and D. Okay, here's what this is. Here's what I
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
with this.
It was like
Here's what
that.
the Vedic teachings teach about this. It's a nice way to understand the bridge between the different cultures.
And so I believe it was in the context of those conversations, it may have been Shyamasundar that asked Prabhupada, it may have been someone else, but essentially they asked him something like, are you telling me that these philosophers, that none of them had God consciousness? And Prabhupada said something interesting.
Oh, yeah.
You know what he said?
Tell me. I can't remember, but it was
He
found.
said their sincerity is their God consciousness.
Mm.
Which to me says, like, in other words, we're gently trying to block the truth and block God out of our life, right? Like, I don't need, and I think, the kind of atheistic science that we talk about a lot, that's really just like an advanced way of doing that. But if you just sincerely want to know truth, in one sense, that is God consciousness, right? It's like you've opened yourself up to understanding what is true. You're moving forward. You're moving towards truth just through genuine sincerity. But this is about duty, Raghunath, huh?
Yeah.
How does duty play a role in your life?
Are you kidding?
Do you find yourself easily distracted by trifles?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then does duty help you?
Duty sort of like drags you back on track.
Okay. It has to be
Especially if you don't work for somebody, if you're self-employed, you have to really be focused on your mission.
yeah.
I've been very mission oriented my entire life.
Okay. Well, I mean, as the channel of the divine love, it's been necessary for you to be mission oriented.
You have the world to save after all.
That's right. But
The
yeah,
channelers can get distracted.
I think our Western mind, we kind of like, we're not so into the concept of duty. I mean, we want everyone else to be dutiful. We want the cop to be very dutiful, the politician to be very dutiful, the teacher to be very dutiful.
The guys who are driving the trains and the
We
subway.
want the
you them
cashier to be very dutiful. Yeah, we want everyone to do their duty. But as far as ourselves, we don't want anyone putting any rules or regulations on our life. We don't want any expectations. We want to be free.
Sure.
But that can lead down some messy roads. Whereas like in the Vedic yogic paradigm, it was like really chiseled into
You knew
society.
what you were supposed to do today. There was
Yeah,
no there was no
exactly.
to-do list. It's like, you know what to do.
That's right. Whether what according to your occupation, you know what to do. According to your stage in life, you know what to do. If
It's
I'm
an interesting concept that actually too much choice can make a person miserable,
oh God, it's so true, isn't it?
right? It's like when there's a little
Raghunath, I don't know. Like if I'm in a hotel and there's like a what they call remote control for like a television, I practically don't know how to use that thing.
No,
There's like a billion channels.
no,
I don't
there's too
know
many
how to
channels.
get
I
around.
can't watch it.
Yeah.
I can't watch television. It's just
Yeah.
I'm so confusing. I like when there was 4 channels. I'm so damn old. It's ridiculous.
It was
now.
easy then. You watch garbage or you watch PBS.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Garbage, please. You want the local garbage or the national garbage?
National garbage.
Greg
remember-
DeGasu says he needs his daughter to help him, and she's only 7. It's like we
Oh,
do the same thing where we're like, Tarun, can you help us turn on the television? We can't figure it out.
Yeah. But having that duty, it actually makes the mind more peaceful. And I say it's the first step in conquering the mind. It's the first step in yoga, because the mind is saying run free, eat, drink, and be merry. Don't let anyone tell you what to do. And then duty comes along and says, actually gain control, right? Actually, that's not freedom. You're just being dragged by your senses and your mind here and there. Duty means do the right thing, be dharmic, bring it back. You know what you need to do. As a father, Raghunath, you know what you need to do, right? We need to know what we need to do as a spouse, as a parent, as a child to a parent, as a student, as a teacher, in our occupation. It should be clear, what the ethics are, right? What's the code
People
that
are
I live by?
confused.
You're confused?
People are confused,
People are
and they're just not doing their duties.
Yeah. Epictetus had another one similar to this, right?
Oh yeah,
Double nugget. He said,
Epictetus.
be not diverted from your duty. That sounds like Bhagavad Gita right there, right?
Right.
Oh,
that
Arjuna,
sounds
be not diverted from your duty.
Oh, Janardhan.
Be not diverted from your duty by any idle reflections the silly world may make upon you.
Oh, silly world.
For their censures are not in your power and should not be at all your concerns, right? Like, I got my job to do in life, right? Today, it's merch, wear your merch Monday. I'm gonna go out and represent, right? Someone may have something to say, I don't care. I have my duty as a Vaishnava. I have my duty as a Bhakti yogi. I have my duty again as a parent. I have and I just own that, and it keeps me moving down the right path. It's the beginning of spirit. It's the beginning of yoga. That's how I
Right.
see it.
Because duty means you just can't act whimsically. And a big reason why we suffer in this world is my mind is whimsical. It's all over the place, and I need to control my mind. So it's like
Yeah.
the foundational principle of meditation. You have to by doing duty, you can no longer
the mind
just
under
move to the
control.
left and move to the right. You have to stay on track.
Yeah. And then, there's this idea that, the duty is it has its purpose. Like any one of us, if someone came up and said, well, what are your duties in life? We should be able to go boom, 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 boom. I know what not like we shouldn't sit there. Well, I don't know. It should be like really clear. And,
Yeah. Figure it out in a household too.
sorry?
Figure it out in a household. Figure it
Who,
out in a marriage.
who's responsible? Not just like duties, definitely duties like who washes the dishes and who does that. That's got to be there. But I think even take it on a little bit deeper ethical level. What is my duty to you as your parent? What is your duty to me, as my child? What is my duty to you as a husband? What is your duty to me as a wife? We should know these things. It's a way of clearing up expectations, and it's a way of creating some healthy guardrails in life, right? And then when someone's operating outside the duty, kind of everybody knows it, and they can see, oh, you see, problems start as soon as we
You
kind of
didn't
lose touch
unload
with
the
duty.
dishwasher. Now all hell is breaking loose.
Shamara looked up when you said that right there.
Mara's so dutiful, it's ridiculous. I call her Duty Davy.
Duty. But then the idea in the yoga culture, it was clear. It should be clear to us, the purpose of the duty, how it, in the whole Vedic conceptions, these duties were really clear, and they were kind of, Prabhupada sometimes would call them prescribed duties, right? Because different people with different psychologies and different stages of life have duties prescribed specifically for their mindset.
Mm.
We share this a lot, but like say you're a person that's really good at making money and you got the drive and the aptitude, then everyone understands the category person. You're the guy that starts the business and employs everyone. We get it. That's great. Go out and be prosperous and employ people, and it's great for the economy. It's great for it. But understand that don't just be blind, just trying to make money. Like in other words, if in the West that person may think, like in our current age, right, the person who has that aptitude, the somewhat rare person, right? It's not everybody that's got that. Starts their own business, becomes successful, expands it, creates it. We know some people like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to start another business now. Really? Like,
Yeah,
I couldn't even
multiple.
start.
It's like those are these people I can't understand. It's like, now I'm going to have multiple businesses. What? Who's doing this stuff?
So that person with that aptitude in our life, they may think, my success is measured by how much money I make, how much more I'm making than others. No. Understand, your duty isn't just to blindly make money. Your duty is to take care of your employees. That's your duty. If your duties, if you're profiting and your employees are suffering, you haven't carried out your duty. You haven't understood. And so you're cultivating greed and you're generating bad karma for yourself and suffering for others. You haven't followed. Your duty is to see that all of your employees have their basic necessities met, that they can live a life that's where they can have a mind peaceful enough to pursue their spiritual goals. That's your duty. It's your duty to give them charity because you're the one making all the money, right? It's your duty to look out for others. And if you follow those duties, then your potential for your skills to drag you down into greed, it'll be countered through the duty, and it'll kind of keep you progressing spiritually. Whereas pure devotees, these super elevated yogis, they actually don't need any duties because they've kind of already achieved the goal. And that's going to be discussed today a bit in Bhagavatam.
Very good. Epictetus.
Epictetus sounds like a disease.
Epictetus. I've got a bad case of epictetus. I got a fever. I'm shaking. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before we start the Srimad Bhagavatam, whichever means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, and to Narayan Rishi, the most human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyanat Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Right there.
Today, reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 7, chapter 10, text 23.
Who's speaking now? The paw has come out, Raghunath.
Okay. You know what? I don't have the proper. I'm traveling, Prabhu.
I got you, Raghunath. Don't worry about it. We don't. No need for excuses.
Seat, please.
Okay. This is Lord Nrsingadev speaking to Prahlada.
I made it out of bed this morning.
Yeah, this is
had a bunch of people hooking me by the neck and diving off a stage.
Bumping you. But when you were a kid, you would have taken that bump like it was nothing.
I was a very, very refined stage diver and dancer.
Okay. In other words, this other person wasn't.
No, they're just like big animals coming up, hooking me around the neck, throwing me around. They've got like that teenage superhuman strength. You know what I mean? I'm an elderly man, sir.
I'm an old man, for crying out loud.
Damn it.
I know the band's called Youth of Today, but can't you tell?
Name only, man. I got a white beard. What more do I need to do?
I got a white beard. I didn't dye it like this. This is the way it is.
This is what's coming out of my body.
Okay, so the half man, half lion avatar of Lord Vishnu, Nrsimhadev, is now speaking to Prahlad. He wants to offer him benedictions, and he's giving him instruction for how to live in the future now. He told him, you know what? You're so selfless that when I asked you to take a benediction, you just said, well, help my father, who was torturing you and trying to kill you. look at your character. He says, don't worry about your father. Just because I love you so much, your whole dynasty's been blessed.
Mm.
But now he's going to say, now this is how you live your life moving forward, little 5-year-old Prahlad. You're going to become king now, right?
What if he became king at 5?
I think he did. That's what he's saying right now.
Okay, here we go. After performing the ritualistic ceremonies, take charge of your father's kingdom. Sit upon the throne and do not be disturbed by materialistic activities. Please keep in mind, please keep your mind fixed upon me without transgressing the injunctions of the Vedas.
Mhm.
As a matter of formality, you may perform your particular duties.
All right.
You know, there's all these like duties of kings, and it's not just in Vedic culture. You'll see these in like European kings that have this. There's like this respect and this love for kings. If you go to different countries, that they still have a king, or they have a king in name only. And the king had these very similar dharmas. I'm wondering if all
Have
these
you been to
European,
countries where there's a king? I mean, I guess England and stuff, but like,
well,
like where there was
Belgium, I
really a
think they
king?
have there's a king. They
What
see
about
pictures.
Manipur? Was there a king there when you were there? Do you know?
I don't know. I did meet
I
with
bet
the
there
governor
was.
before. I mean, they all in India. They were all kingdoms.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, all Rajasthan was broken up into different kingdoms. But I'm talking about like, you know, Thailand has a king.
Yeah.
You know, a king and a queen. You see their pictures everywhere. But it's same in Europe too. And there's this
Sentimental. There's something in the heart
not
that.
just sentimentality, but
Well, sentimentality isn't necessarily a negative thing, but like the
yeah,
feeling that like we wanna we want someone that's some
to lead
benevolent
us, protect
ruler.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I guess there was a sentimentality. Um, Anyway, it's interesting to find out, like, did these come from Vedic kings? Where all the rituals, the bathing ritual, you know, they bathe the
Seems
king,
like
or
it.
they
Right?
wash the feet of the king.
The coronation,
Yeah, the coronation.
the sword, and all. But so here he says something interesting. He says, so he's saying, first of all, the first interesting thing is he's saying, don't just be a yogi, right? Because it seems like, why get in? His father was this big materialist king. Why should he do that? Why get entangled in that kind of thing? But he's saying, no, 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 I want you to be king. I want you to perform the ritual ceremonies for your father's funeral. And then I want you to take charge. So even that's duty, right? To perform the different rites at the time of the death of the father. And then he says, sit on the throne and don't be disturbed by materialistic activity. So be in the world, but not of it. Right? You can do that. And he's saying you can do it by keeping your mind fixed on me. And then he says this last thing, without transgressing the injunctions of the Vedas, like live according to the Vedic duties as a matter of formality, because you don't actually need them for their reformative kind of, in order to be reformed yourself. You're already reformed. That's the purpose of the duties, right?
See, the problem is in culture is like we don't even have an idea of like this is supposed to lead us somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a business. I'm
like
going to hope it
imposed on
becomes
us.
successful.
Yeah.
I'm going to be an athlete. I'm going to be a gardener. I'm going to be a musician, and I hope it becomes successful. Like that is the idea.
Then I'll
There's
enjoy the
actually
results
a
of it.
reason why we're working, and it's to bring us to a place of love of God.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and Prahlad's already there. So he doesn't need the duties to kind of keep him in line. Of course, there's that verse from the Padma Purana, a really important verse. And it's quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Smarta vyasatatam vishnor vishvartam no najatachit sarve vidi nashedashor etiore vikinkara. Kinkara means, you know what kinkara means?
Kinky?
No, Raghunath, please.
I don't know what it means.
Why? Kinkar, it means like a servant.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's saying smarta vyasatatam vishnor vishvartam no najatachit. There's two kind of big rules in life.
Okay.
Always remember Krishna, never forget him. Okay, that's the main thing, right? And then sarve vidi, all the different rules, all the different regulations, all the different duties, all the different rituals and rites, all of that stuff. Sarve vidi nasedisur, etior eva kinkor. They should all be seen as servants of this primary rule, to always remember God.
It's leading us somewhere.
That's called yoga, right? To bring your awareness to one focal point. And all those duties are meant to bring us there. They're meant to assist us.
Sure.
If they're not assisting us in getting there, then you're missing the whole point in doing the duty. If you're already there, there's really no necessity for you to perform the duty. But generally, the bhakti yogis perform the duty still as a matter of formality to set the right example for others.
You know, I think that this is why it's important for householders to have a little altar in their house and see their home as not as their home, but this is Krishna's home. This is Krishna's space. And that way, even things that appear like mundane, like I'm going to wash the dishes, I'm going to sweep the floor, I'm going to keep it clean, your consciousness becomes, this is Krishna's home. This is Krishna's temple. To the degree that you really understand like that, none of our work becomes just killing time or just
working for the temporary.
Working for the temporary.
It's just all of your efforts being, disintegrating by the force of time, but you're actually cultivating something eternal.
Something that seems so mundane, sweeping a floor, dusting. It's actually becoming part of your God realization.
It's Krishna's house.
It's Krishna's house.
Do you do a lot of dusting?
Oh, yeah.
I got the feather duster.
They call me, back at home, they call me Dusty.
Yeah, right there.
Duster, look, stupid dusts.
Got a duster.
I think I should dust a little bit more. But dust
a
for
little bit
Krishna.
more. Make it one of your duties. And in the commentary, let's why don't you start the commentary and read up to where Prabhupada quotes that verse.
When one becomes a devotee, he no longer has any duty to the Vedic regulative principles. One has many duties to perform, but if one becomes fully devoted to the Lord, he no longer has any such obligations.
No obligations.
So this is a famous verse in the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Devarsha bhutapta brininam pitrinam nakinkaro nayam ranicha rajan sarvapmanaya saranam saranyam kato mukundam parihritya kartam. One who is fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord is no longer a debtor to his forefathers, the great sages, human society, the common man, or any living entity. We have a lot of debts to pay.
Debtors,
We all have a debt to our parents. Whether we like them or not, our parents have done so much for us. Then there's debts. They say like the forefathers. We don't even give them any credit. I'm not giving my great grandfather any credit, but we have debts to our forefathers. We have great debts to previous masters, previous teachers. I mean, we're sitting here in the middle of nowhere, New York City, Detroit, and it's like, what the hell? It's like somehow transcendental truth has trickled down and landed on my lap. And we're just like, wow, spiritual information. We're in debt to that. We have a debt.
It's very foreign to the American state of mind.
Yeah, we're entitled.
And it's not. It doesn't even have to. The word debtor, I think we associate the word debt with like anxiety, right? I mean, it's natural that we do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, debt, man. Oh God.
I'm in debt.
But this debt doesn't have to be. And I think we have a resistance to this concept because of that. But think of it more as like gratitude, right? Like we should be feeling and expressing gratitude for all that we received. If you cultivate that attitude, it's favorable, like it's nurturing the right character and the right disposition that's conducive for maintaining family and society, like on the external level, but also conducive for developing the right devotional heart,
Sure.
And so Prahlad's got that, but you could see he immediately thought of his forefathers when he was offered a benediction. He didn't think of himself. He thought of, well, I'm indebted to others.
Yeah.
Let me look after them. If everyone's thinking like this, the world the material world becomes a spiritual world. So it's ingrained into Indian society. Maybe not always in the most healthy way. Maybe it is a little guilt, you got some guilt aspect to it or something like that. Hey, you're indebted to me. I'm your father. You better do this. You better do that. And what about your grandfather? What are you gonna be? And you know, um, it's always a fine line, I guess, between like social pressure being, a nurturing thing or it being a destructive kind of element. I know that, what they say in the Chowpatty temple in Mumbai, Radha Gopinath temple.
What?
You know, there's a Brahma, the long time brahmachari there, goes way back, Govinda Prabhu.
Hmm.
Sweet devotee, learned devotee,
Sure.
just one of these really special souls there, right? Knows Ramayana, knows Mahabharata, knows philosophy, just great storytelling. And he especially was like kind of an inspiration and a guide for a lot of the children in the community,
Hmm.
you know. And they would come to the temple and he would, they would gather around him and he would kind of like what you're picturing yourself being when you start the Super Soul summer camp.
Summer camps.
Right? You got all the kids around you, telling some Mahabharata. And the parents, they would say, like, if their kid was misbehaving in any way, then the parents would just say, well, what was Govinda Prabhu going to say when he hears about this? They'd be like, oh, you're right, okay. Because his influence was there, and that's a healthy thing, that you have people in your life that just by the power of their own character and purity, and just out of your own indebtedness to them, you feel this gratitude and this appreciation and even a little shame if necessary, right? To kind of reform.
It's like when I was growing up, there was no like older kids to look up to. The older kids would just beat the hell out of you and
Yeah,
torture you. There was not like, here's an
What about
elder.
your
Here's an elder that I
siblings?
respect.
What about your siblings? Were they like that for you?
A
little bit?
They were
Not really.
pretty good. They were pretty good to me.
But it wasn't like strong inspiration or anything like that.
No, not like that. Not like that. When I was little, me and my younger brother were little of a big family, so we were treated like the little children.
Right.
But no, they're actually good. My brother, like, I'm gonna buy you a bicycle. You need a bicycle. I was like, you're kidding.
Right.
Bought me my first bicycle. Well, that was sort of nice.
I'm not talking about just giving you things.
Well, no. Well, that's a nice duty. He felt like it's his duty.
Okay, I'm gonna affection.
It
It is
stuff,
our
it was
duty
like
to be
loving
affectionate.
affection.
It's affectionate. It's the duty of seniors to be affectionate and kind to juniors. It is.
Yeah.
And it's the duty of juniors to be respectful to seniors.
I know. The problem is I just got all rebellious.
You got rebellious.
You got all rebellious. It's like, what is it in the breed of Americans who just want to, like, no respect?
No respect, huh? But this verse, Devarshi Bhuptapta Nrinam Pitrinam, that if you fully surrendered to God, if you've given your life wholly, then you're no longer a debtor. And the point to this is that, if you read the Vedas, these ancient texts that explain all this ritual, they explain all the different gods and goddesses, right? There's a god of the sun, Surya. There's a god of the moon, Chandra. There's a god of the rain, Indra. There's the goddess of dawn. Who's the goddess of dawn?
I don't know.
There's a goddess of dawn.
Sharda.
What's her name? It's slipping my mind right now.
Goddess of dawn.
There's a goddess of the dawn. There's gods and goddesses for even like aspects of life, like knowledge or learning, like Saraswati. Or speech, the goddess Vach. You know that one?
No.
And yeah, and friendship. The god Mitra.
Friendship.
Mitra. Yeah, there's a god.
Ushas is the prominent
That's
goddess.
it. Ushas. Mara, right on it.
Shri Google G.
Okay. So there's an idea that we are indebted to all these gods and goddesses, that they not only personify, but they're kind of the superintendents of all of these gifts of nature. And therefore you're indebted to each one of them. And also, if you want to continue to receive these blessings, then you need to dutifully live according to their standards and dutifully offer something back in the form of ritual. That it's a formal way of saying thank you, I appreciate it. And I'm ready for more if you want to send any this way. Any wealth, Goddess Lakshmi over here. you know. But the idea is, yeah, you're indebted and it needs to be expressed. But when it comes to the higher teachings of the Vedic literature, like the Bhagavatam, where you find this verse, it's saying that if you've given all of those gods and goddesses are working on behalf of the Supreme, the root of all existence. And if you water the root, you've watered all of them. If you satisfy the root, you've satisfied all of them. If you've given your life, therefore, if you fully surrendered your life to the root of all existence, to God, then you're no longer a debtor to the gods, to the goddesses, to the forefathers, to the great sages. You've satisfied them all by your connection to the root.
When I've been to Bali a few times, and in Bali, there's Vaishnavas in Bali as well.
Yeah.
But there's
a lot of demigod
a
worship.
lot of people worshiping demigods and even demons.
It's Vedic culture still operating.
Still operating there. And you'll just see them. You'll be like in a shop buying something and they're doing a puja and worshiping different demigods. Or sometimes they'll do meat. They'll offer meat to one of the demons. And then so the demon will give them some protection or not harm them. And then they throw it out in the street.
Oh, to appease the deity.
To appease the deity, yeah. So all these, but there's an idea, a consciousness of all the stuff I've got. It's not just random. It's not coming from nowhere. There's subtle entities like that are working it, and I have to sort of appreciate that there's protection out there. There's safety. There's money coming in. There's good fortune. And people, from an atheistic point of view, thinks, well, these guys are it's superstitious,
Yeah.
We on the other side say, well, actually, all of it comes from Krishna. Just trust Krishna. Krishna's got a greater plan. Even if your business isn't doing well, there's a greater plan for that because God is benevolent. And therefore, we're all moving up wherever we are. Just worship Krishna.
Yeah.
It's sort of similar to what Jesus said, Stop worshiping all these gods and these idols. Just surrender to God.
Just surrender to my messenger, Raghu.
Just
my channel.
Walk with him.
walk behind him. Yeah. And I think even there's some remnant of this, like you read these things, like I think just recently I read that this one kind of famous old school pizza place in New York was like out in Brooklyn was shutting down,
Oh, the one under the Brooklyn Bridge?
No.
The one way out there?
the one way out there. And it gets handed down like from through the generations in the family, that pizza place,
Like a disciplic succession of
it's
pizza.
like a disciplic succession, and the kids think
Justine
Justine
Stramboli's from a different sampradaya. She's from a different lineage.
Yeah. Oh, Kimmy Carroll's saying Spumoni Gardens. I think it was Spumoni Gardens.
Spumoni Gardens.
Yeah. And I'm not sure about that, so don't worry too much. I don't want to cause anyone any shock here. But but there's that idea that in sense of indebtedness to carry on what we offer to society, and therefore, like the children, like if you're born in a Brahmin family, you don't know how far back in your family it goes that like my grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-great-great-great-great-great, they were handing down these mantras, they were handing down these rituals, they were handing down these codes of ethics from generation to generation because it's good for society, and that's what our family does. This is what we offer to society, and the doctors
we
would
give them knowledge, we give them wisdom.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, what are you going to do now with your life? I'm going to be.
I don't care.
I'm going to be a DJ. DJ.
A DJ. What's a DJ? DJ.
It's a new generation.
Yeah. But so therefore, like ignoring one's duties is in the Vedic paradigm is like, oh, you've really blown it. But if you're giving your life entirely to Vishnu or entirely to Krishna, then no, this is the best, right? But still, Prahlada is carrying out the duties that his father had of like kind of ruling the kingdom, but he's ordered by Vishnu.
It can get really depressing, as you're saying. We were
depressing.
That book me and Mara like. Nine Lives by William Dalrymple. And it talks about all these very interesting stories about people he meets in India. And one was of a deity maker. And they talk about what it takes to make a deity. And it comes from
Oh yeah, we were
family
talking about that the other
lineage
day, right?
of lines of making these deities. There's a way to do it. There's a time of day to do it. And very, very interesting stuff. And then they ask him about his son. What's your son doing? And he said, my son's into tech and computers. And
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to take the business on. But I will say, for all the depressive, for all the sadness you can get, like, man, is it all going to end? I tell you, there's so many people from the Western world, from former Soviet Union, from that are just like, no, they're taking this Vedic culture really well, and they're like almost
Yeah.
like resurrecting these
Yeah.
things that are dying out. Language, ritual, dance, music. They're like taking it to medicine. They're taking it to a whole astrology. They're taking it to a whole new level.
Hmm.
It's not going to go away.
No.
It's
And
going to
we're
get
not-
bigger and bigger.
Is that something? Is that just a speculation, or is that something you channeled from the ether?
I took it from the sky.
Okay, just checking. Nice, nice.
Oh, you see what happened? The pizza place is closing because
'Cause they
the
got
owner
shot.
was murdered.
Oh man,
I wonder if it was like a hit, like a pizza mafia hit.
I hope not.
It's horrible. What's going on with New York, Stupa? It's back to the 80s now.
No, just you're just doing your reels and buying into whatever.
It's not dangerous now? Crime hasn't risen in New York City?
Has it?
Yeah.
No, it's not more than it was back when I was a kid. That's for sure. I feel safe on the streets. You just don't get all worked up, okay?
That's
Mara's like, that's right. Because you tell him, Kastuba. Don't get all worked up. All right. Next verse.
All right. Yeah.
That'd be text 24. Whenever you're ready, Raghu, you just read that text.
Yep. Narada Muni continued, thus, as the Supreme Personality of God had ordered, Prahlada Maharaj performed the ritualistic ceremonies for his father. O King Yudhisthira, he was then enthroned in the kingdom of Hiranyakashipu as directed by the Brahmins.
So that's duty too, right? Even though I'm the ruler and I got all this power, I know that there are these wise, simple living people, right? Their minds are deeply absorbed in knowledge. Their character is very reformed. Their needs are very simple. They're not confused and attached by the things that most people, and therefore they can speak wisdom. And so even though I got the political power, I allow myself to be guided and directed by these deeper thinkers. Lord Brahma, text 25.
Lord Brahma, surrounded by the other demigods, was bright-faced because
Wow.
the Lord was pleased. Thus, he offered prayers to the Lord with transcendental words.
You know, there's something right there in that verse, Raghunath. You
Is there?
picking anything up?
Lord Brahma was bright-faced?
Yeah, I mean, really the person that was really shining was Prahlad, right? He was just kind of been recognized as like particularly favored by Lord Vishnu. He's kind of the hero of the day. Brahma could be like, hold it, he's stealing my thunder, right? You know, I'm usually the big number one, you know? Or maybe Vishnu's number one, but I'm kind of seen as the next one in the chain. And I'm
Right.
kind of like the closest to him. Prahlad just kind of has been kind of exposed in front of everyone that's always shown respect to Brahma. Prahlad just kind of took that spot in a sense, you know, as dear to the Lord. Brahma's not feeling envy. Prahlad's not feeling distraught. He doesn't even have a drop of like, oh, what does this mean for me? You know, no, he's bright-faced. He's witnessing the beautiful devotional exchange between Prahlad and Vishnu, and it's just making his heart sing. You know, that's nice, right?
Beautiful. Lord Brahma said, O Supreme Lord of all lords, proprietor of the entire universe, O benedictor of all living entities, O Adi Purusha, original person,
Original person.
because of our good fortune, you have now killed the sinful demon who is giving trouble to the entire universe. I guess if you're Lord Brahma, you really see how, there's so many higher beings.
Mhm.
We tend to think like, oh, we're humans, we're the highest being. Like, look what we can do. I'll kill anything. I'll take this land. I've got an infestation of ants. I'll kill all those ants. So I got mice. I'll kill all those mice. There's tigers, wild cats, and this. I'll kill all those tigers. So, but Lord Brahma understands, like, no, there's so many higher beings. You can't even perceive of these higher beings, and they're all there. It's always going back. The credit's always going back to Lord Vishnu as the Lord of them all. You've now killed this simple demon who's giving you trouble to the entire universe.
Okay. Are we out of time? We're out of time, Roga.
I gotta go.
All right, no problem. You're winding down here. It's okay. Everything's good.
Mara, you good?
I'm good. You want some takeaways? You got time for that?
You write down any interesting...
Let's hear the takeaways.
I got some good stuff. If you sincerely want truth, that's God consciousness.
No, sincerity is a God consciousness. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Duty drags you back on track from distractions.
that's right.
Duty drives you.
Too much choice makes a person miserable.
I think statistically that plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
What's
little
that
kids.
book? There's a book all about it, about how we have too many options. I can't think of the name of it.
31 flavors.
Never ask a kid if they want which flavor they want. You just tell
Just
them,
give
here's our choices.
Is that how you play, Roga?
Yeah, are you kidding? It
When you
gives
go
a
to
kid
Stewart's?
anxiety. Gives a kid anxiety.
Mm.
They don't want to have to figure it out.
All right. Well, keep that in mind.
Own your duty to keep moving towards truth.
That's
Mhm.
Karuna's attachment is ice cream she mentioned the other day.
And fast cars.
And fast cars. Yeah.
That's it.
Don't let her choose her own fast car. You just give her a fast car, Rogan.
We're just picking out a race car for her. That's it.
Okay, what's next?
Doing your duty is the first step of controlling the whimsical mind.
Rogan woke up.
Think of your home as Krishna's home.
All right. Yeah, it's
I like
Krishna's
that.
home. Dust it.
No, it's not your home. It's Krishna's
Surrender to Krishna to relieve your debts.
home. Surrender
Yeah.
to Krishna, relieve your debts.
One shot, one stop shopping. It's all right there.
Mhm. Trust in Krishna's benevolent plan.
He's got a benevolent plan for you. Raghunath has a benevolent plan for you.
I can help you, Kostuba. Let me heal you. I think Kostuba needs some healing.
The credit always goes back to Lord Vishnu.
Yeah.
And
Better be
Yes.
good.
dust for Krishna.
Dust for Krishna.
Dust
not
for
anyone
Krishna.
else.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Hey, check out the somethingdivinefilm.com website. It's our good friend Tom Essig's film. You'll like it. It takes place in India on one of our. It came on pilgrimage, shot on the teacher training. Thanks everybody for joining us. Excited for Italy. It's coming down. It's coming down the pike, and also
New York this weekend.
New York Raw Theater. We're going to see everybody. Bring your cookies. Make some cookies. Offer them to God. No eggs in the cookies. And then we're going to
Maybe wear
distribute
your
cookies
merch.
to all the people. We're going to chant. We're going to sing. We're going to talk. Looking forward to it.
If you're not getting all dressed up, then wear your merch.
If you're not getting all dressed up, it's like, I can't wear the whole sorry thing. Then just wear some merch.
So represent.
Makes sense, right? Saw Sarah Koretsky. She had her hardcore therapist. If you're into hardcore and you're working on mental health, check out
She was
Sarah
at that.
Koretsky's
She was at that show
hardcore
last
therapist.
night.
She had a whole hardcore therapist booth.
Nice.
Is helping. A couch. It was a couch you lay down.
Lay down.
Therapy. Raghunath, tell me your woes. I can help you.
It's like they start to say, I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling. Maybe it's you're listening to too much hardcore. Or is hardcore the therapy for anger?
It might be.
That's it.
Kimmy Carroll, we'll see you in Tommy Carroll at the farm. I'm reconnected with Tommy Carroll, our old drummer.
My battery's about to run out.
Hey, listen,
right.
I'm going to go to Detroit Metropolitan International Airport, and I will see everybody tomorrow. It is a beautiful day for a beautiful day. Let the magic continue to flow in a big Haribo.